Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the this webinar series co-hosted by ETRetail and Vinculum. I have with me Niket, joining in from Noida from the ET office itself. And I have Ravi joining in on phone from Bangalore. So I'll quickly start off with a quick introduction about myself. I started Vinculum about 9 years back. Vinculum is in the business of enabling multi-channel retailing. So I'll spend half a minute just introducing the company, and we'll take it from there. So Vinculum essentially helps all the players selling online, like sellers on marketplaces, e-tailers who are pure online brands, retailers who are brick and mortar retailers looking at moving online strategically, and CPG companies who are also, there's a trend of CPG companies moving online. So we work with each of these players in terms of a set of software solutions. So we are a software company. Essentially, if we look at the primary focus of the company, we are building integrations to marketplaces, building integrations to all the fulfillment companies in different geographies like India, Southeast Asia, Middle East, US. And through this integration layer, which is quite powerful, what we are enabling is for companies, whoever is selling online, to sell domestically and also to sell internationally. So we are facilitating this through a set of SaaS-based solutions for order management, fulfillment, cataloging, and onboarding sellers. So without much ado, I'll introduce the co-panelists who are there today in this webinar. Mr. Raviraj Rodrigues, who is the supply chain head of Wildcraft. Ravi, do you want to quickly introduce yourself and Wildcraft?
Yes. Hi, today I would be representing the retailing community, and I plan to share with you my experiences in Wildcraft journey from offline to offline plus online. My past experience, as you can see from my profile, has largely been in supply chain. However, I'm very passionate about creating an omni-channel presence for the customer. And during my stint in Wildcraft, I've spent a lot of time trying to work on processes to bring about that transformation. Wildcraft, as you know, is one of India's leading brands in the auto segment. We are proud of our Made in India tag, and we manufacture high quality, affordable products in India and retail them to 3,000 plus POSs in India, that is points of sale in India. And in fact, we've also recently gone global. We are now retailing in 6 countries, mostly in the Middle East, Malaysia, and Indonesia. We've also started selling into US markets through Amazon. That's all about me for now, and I will talk more about what Wildcraft is being doing on this transformation in subsequently.
Thanks, Ravi. I'll also invite Niket to introduce himself and introduce Tolexo to the audience.
Thanks, Venkat. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I take care of product at Tolexo. So Tolexo is a B2B e-commerce site, with a vision to have a one-stop solution for all the MRO and industrial need for all SMEs and MSMEs, retailers, dealers spread across India. We are backed by IndiaMart, and we house more than 1 million products, across multiple categories. We have more than 8,000 brands which are national, international. We are bringing local and brands and taking them national. We are, we have more than 7,000 sellers with us, who are helping us, achieve our vision. I hope to share some experiences that we have in building Tolexo and see if we can assist everyone there to, how to bring the journey from online to offline and then offline to online. Thank you.
Thanks, Niket. So I'd like to set the agenda for the discussion today. So we're going to start off with defining O2O and how to get the best of both online and offline worlds. So we will start with the O2O, omni-channel. These words have been used in the definitions have been very different. There's no consistent definition which has been used. So we will set that context first. In terms of the way we are looking at O2O is there's a clear trend of the brick and mortar retailers moving from offline to online, and this is particularly required because of the changing expectations of the customer. So customers today are more savvy. They expect a lot of convenience in terms of shopping, and marketplaces have come in and made a lot of changes in terms of expectations on same-day delivery or near same-day delivery. We're going to look at the impact of all this in terms of how retailers are looking at online more strategically. At the same time, people selling online like marketplaces and pure online brands, they recognize that the touch with the customer is absolutely important. So offline to online is one part of the O2O journey, but we are also seeing that online players are setting up small stores, setting up kiosks. They're collaborating with retailers to create experience for the customers so that they touch and feel the products before they buy. So you're seeing the online players who are moving offline. So we're going to look at different use cases there. So that's the next part of what we're going to cover in terms of the whole O2O transformation. And we're also going to look at the whole consistent experience which is being provided to the customer. So following that, we will go do a deep dive into Wildcraft and Tolexo in terms of their own experiences. So the use cases are some of the good examples in the industry. Post that, we will look at what is the impact in terms of technology changes which are required and what investments need to be made. What is the impact towards process and training? So we will touch upon that. Means of course it's very ambitious looking at an agenda like this to cover within 30-35 minutes, but we will try to do what we can. And out of this, we would out of the experience of the esteemed panelists whom we have today in the webinar. So we hope to get you a cheat sheet to succeed. So this would be for all parts of the ecosystem. We would take up examples for sellers, for online brands, for retailers, and for marketplaces to see how they can succeed in this whole O2O journey. So just a quick look at this. If you look at offline to online, so I did touch upon this. So retailers are looking at going online as an additional sales channel. They're also looking at building customer loyalty as a critical factor. Also through going online, many retailers are identifying new customer bases as well. So we will touch upon each of these through the use cases. And online to offline, like I covered, the marketplaces and online brands, they're setting up small stores and kiosks and collaborating with the retailers. So we'll jump into some of the customer expectations. Today's customers, when we look at them, customers are saying, give me information. When I would like to look up inventory before I shop. And if I want to buy a Nike orange shoe size 12, I want to know it's available in the store before I actually visit the store. Now, I don't want to go to the store and find that the product that I'm looking for is not available. So that's one expectation. The second expectation is that if I go to the store and I don't find the product, the sales associate should be able to close the deal by either reserving the stock from a different store or reserving the order for me and having it shipped to my residence or to my office. So customers expect this. So, and of course, if the customer walks out of the door, there's no guarantee that he's going to go back and go to the next store to buy the same item. He might buy it from your competitor. So the whole click and collect and reserve and collect, both are clearly expectations there. And from a convenience perspective, customers expect multiple payment options. They would like to be able to use their credit card. They would like cash on delivery. They would like to pay through a Paytm wallet or any other wallet there. So generally, people expect the conveniences to be able to shop. And allow me to change my mind. So this is again very interesting. I buy online. Why should I not return it in the store? I go to a store, buy a shirt. I find that it doesn't suit me. Can I go to the store next to my house and return it? Is it possible? So these are expectations that customers have today. And give my delivery fast. Don't charge me extra for the fast delivery. So of course, when you look at each of these items, so when you really, what it tells you is that customers today expect a lot. Customers are very comfortable shopping on the mobile. Customers they're already tuned to shopping on marketplaces. How do you make sure that you do all this as a retailer without, I mean, it takes a lot of money to actually invest and do all this. How do you make sure that you're able to succeed? So are there easy ways to make sure that the journey is successful? That's one of the things which we wanted to cover. And one of the opportunities is to figure out if there are new revenue streams that people can look at. Can by collaborating with marketplaces and retailers, is there an opportunity to unlock new revenue streams? Retailers and sellers, many of them are selling on marketplaces. Now, one of the things people do is by selling on marketplaces, A, you're creating online revenues, and B, you're also testing out the operational challenges which you would face while selling online. Means, where are the customers buying from? Which are the locations you need to deliver? How do you make sure that unit economics for delivery is actually profitable? I mean, a lot of these things can be ironed out in terms of the steps that you take. So marketplaces can be, don't have to be a competitor. They can be collaborators, partners in the journey, right? So that's essentially one of the things many retailers are seeing, and Asia actually, interestingly, has been a leader in this part, in this particular aspect. Because if you talk to retailers in US, most of them compete with the marketplaces. But Asia, India, they've actually seen that this could be very interesting. Of course, one of the things I would ask the panelists as we go to the, once we move forward, is to see which sectors are actually seeing a lot of online uptake, and what size of retailers would possibly do it on their own completely, or is there some kind of a yardstick for us to see who is better off starting off selling on marketplaces kind of question. Now, the other thing that we are seeing is stores as a fulfillment center for marketplaces. This is something going back to the online to offline example that I spoke of. We have some very interesting examples in the industry where marketplaces are partnering with retailers, and they're using the stores of the retailers as a place to pick up the item. So, for example, I buy in a marketplace like eBay, and I have the option to pick up the goods from many of the neighborhood stores in which the item is available. So eBay basically works in collaboration with those retailers, and once if I say I would like to pick up from a particular store, the order gets sent out to the partner retailer, who reserves the stock for me. I just go and pick it up immediately. So what are the advantages? The marketplace is saving on the shipment cost. As a customer, I get the item immediately or very quickly. And for the retailer, it's footfall. And hopefully there'll be additional revenue which is generated through the footfall created. So everybody stands to gain. It's a win-win for everyone. Of course, there is some amount of competition which comes in because of the fact that the customer is going into the retailer. But if you're looking at strategic partnerships, everyone stands to gain. So that's, again, one of the things we would like to touch upon. And the whole opportunity of going international, particularly if retailers who own their products or have distribution rights in different countries. Today, technology is very easily available to go cross-border. Means we have great examples in India where customers like Jaipur, Prayog, there are many of them who are attempting and succeeding in going online and selling in many countries, operating out of India itself. So theoretically, there is no reason why you can't sell in a 60 to 70 plus countries. Of course, there's no limit to it. You can through using these cross-border platforms. So of course, it depends on the category of products. It also depends on the profitability being there, along with the customer's ability to pay the product's cost and the shipment cost. But there are enough categories which can go international. So this applies for sellers, this applies for online brands, this applies for brick and mortar retailers. So we would like to touch upon that as well as a part of what we are discussing. So the revenue streams, these revenue streams can actually go back to help in terms of the investments you need to make in terms of people, process, and technology to get to go through the omnichannel journey. That's one of the holy grail that we would like to touch upon. So without much ado, we'll jump into the use cases. So when we look at the use cases, the first one we wanted to speak was offline to online. Vinculum works with a customer called Popular Bookstores, who are leading bookstores in Singapore. They have operations in Malaysia and Indonesia as well. Fundamentally, Popular has been a traditional bookstore with a number of stores. They're the market leader in the Southeast Asian markets. They sell school books, stationery, CDs, audios, etc. You would think when Amazon and Flipkart are examples saying that this is the first category which can succeed online. Now they wanted a mechanism where they could sell online. They could when they wanted to be able to offer a consistent experience to customers in terms of being able to buy online and have it delivered to their store, to their residence, or being able to pick up from the store. Popular hasn't looked at selling in marketplaces as on date, but they're seriously considering that as well. But they're a beautiful example in terms of enabling omnichannel. So all the things that I spoke about in terms of inventory lookups is possible here. You can buy online and return in the store if, within a period of 30 days if you change your mind. You can go to a store and not find an item. The sales associate will look up the availability of inventory in other stores and reserve the item for you to go and pick it up. You can close the deal then and there with them and go and pick up in the other stores. You can have it shipped to your residence, or you can have it shipped to any geographical location. There are certain geographies that they define. Within the geographical locations, anywhere if you want it to be delivered, they will do it free of cost. You can buy it in one store, return in the other. So all the things that I spoke about, the idea is really that you're giving a very beautiful experience to the customer, and you're making it very pleasurable for the customer to deal with. So Popular is attempting each one of these. It's still early days for them. They're 18 months into the journey. They've seen their online revenues go from a single digit to double digit, and they are aiming for the online revenues to be on par with the offline revenues, which is $800 million over the next 3 to 5 years. So they're looking at online very strategically, and they're making investments to make this successful. I will pass on to Niket to discuss about the next use case that we have here. Niket.
Thanks, Venkat. So Popular actually is a very good example of how an offline company, a bookstore, is actually moved to online. That's essentially a B2C customer. You have a wider reach. People are looking for books, looking for buying. Granger, on the other hand, provides a very different opportunity. And just giving a background about Granger, the company actually founded in 1927. It's a company based out of US. The annual turnover, as per the last year estimates, for $9.5 billion. Granger deals into MRO segment. It's a B2B company. It's a B2B resource company. You can go buy industrial products from Granger. What Granger did was something phenomenal, and they had witnessed a tremendous success in moving a journey from offline to online. So Granger has their stores, which are spread across US, and they have a pretty decent presence in other continents as well, including Europe. Granger started a journey, in 1997. They set up their own product catalog online. It's pretty early for internet, was in a nascent stage at that time. We didn't have a very big company at that time, but Granger started their journey in 1997, got the complete product catalog, which houses more than 1 million products online. Okay, currently, their 41% of the revenues that they are having are from online. And that is the kind of growth, and that is the kind of business that they have built from moving from offline to online. But the point that we need to ensure and take care and also notice here is that it is not just movement of offline to online that actually helps them. They have built that experience for a customer, offline as well as online. So in every store where you go for Granger, you will have a expert. As we have an Apple expert, right? You have an expert. You can go there and say, okay, this is my company. This is the kind of work that I do. suggest me a good number of products. They will listen to you, they will understand you, and those product experts will actually suggest, okay, this is the kind of product that you can buy. Once that is done, the purchase can happen offline, the purchase can happen, online. The person can go and can buy online. The repeat purchases, which is a very, very big aspect in B2B businesses, can happen either offline or online as per the customer's convenience. Even they have integrated the entire checkout experience. Whenever you go and buy a product on Ranger, you will get an option of either getting it delivered to your premise, your factory, your house, your shop, or you can actually pick it up from their own store. Okay, so as you can see in the slides, you have a very decent option. As soon as you go for a checkout, you can enter the pin code where you want to, where you live. They will tell you the nearest store that is available. They will tell you whether the inventory is available or not, and if the inventory is available, they will tell you by what date you can pick the product. Or if you want, you can get it delivered at your home or at your office. So Granger is a pretty decent example to see how a successful transition from an offline to an online to experience that is built to the user, which ensures that everything has been taken care of. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Niket. So let me just go to the next example here. Marketplaces collaborating with retailers. So when there are any number of examples we can look here. We're talking of being able to sell on marketplaces for one. In the Indian context, can you think of a few retailers, Niket, who are selling on marketplaces?
I think we have to.
Wildcraft itself is one. Ravi was talking about that. Yeah, Private sells on
so
marketplaces.
We have certain examples, which have actually gone from offline to marketplace. Like we have Zoe, we had improved, those are retailers, which actually pretty serious an example. Those are brands actually which have their own stores. They have their own online presence, but they also started to sell on marketplaces. Start getting more and more orders.
Correct. So selling on marketplaces obviously is an added sales channel, and that helps in terms of additional revenues which are coming. Yeah. So there are any number of examples in the Indian context which we can see, and it's been successfully done. People are selling, for domestically, people are selling on multiple marketplaces, but they're also selling in other countries as well. So when they do, Prayog was a good example, but there are other people who have a real opportunity to go international by partnering with marketplaces in different countries. So if you look at, for example, countries like Thailand, countries like Indonesia, when there are unique, there are local marketplaces who are very successful. And there's a Tarot.com, there's a WeLoveShopping.com, there's a Soup.com in Middle East. Now, these are beautiful vehicles for you to collaborate, partner. So this is a win-win for both parties. So marketplaces obviously would love to have retailers come on board for them, and retailers also have a low-risk method to get into newer segments.
Actually, it's an experience that is good for both of the parties. So definitely tying up with the marketplace enables the retailer to have an additional revenue channel. They measure their footfalls, in a particular location, the catchment area. As soon as they go online, they are actually looking at the eyeballs, how many number of people that we are able to track. As far as for the marketplaces also, that as you mentioned in the earlier slides, that it opens up a fulfillment hub for the marketplace. Many times it happens that the customer doesn't want the order to be delivered to their house, whether the serviceability is not there, the order cannot be delivered to their pin code or cannot be delivered to their office location, house location, or they are not at house, not at home to actually schedule a delivery. In those places, it's again a very beautiful relationship that can be formed, right? So tying up with the marketplaces, a customer can select, okay, I want to place my order and I want to be delivered on this particular showroom. As soon as it is done, that enables another walk-in for the customer on the retailer, and also it enables the marketplace to actually deliver to the customer and have a superior experience given. I think we have an example that is there.
It's good. This is the next one we were talking.
Yes.
So when we look at, this is a classic example of how Argos increase their revenues big time after their partnership with eBay. There's something which is a case study for everyone to follow. So this is, I mean, I think I don't have exact stats with me, but I think Argos increased more than 40% of their revenue after their partnership with eBay.
Yes, as per the reports, Argos, 1/3 of the revenue were from the click and collect.
Okay.
So they tied up with eBay to have an option of click and collect. So whenever a user, so Argos is a UK-based company.
Correct.
So they tied up with eBay UK to have an option of, okay, I want the order to be delivered at an Argos store. Okay, that had a two-way relationship for eBay and Argos. So the eBay sellers, they could, pack the material and deliver it at an Argos outlet, and then Argos can ensure that, okay, they will be, transferring to the nearest Argos outlet, and we'll be ensuring that that product and that order is delivered to the customer in 48 hours. As far as for the customers, since eBay allowed customers to select Argos as a point of fulfillment, that enabled click and collect is the word that they coined, right? So click and collect enables the Argos customers to actually eBay customers to come to Argos, they collect their material and also have purchases done, for additional things that they want to buy. So it was a mutually beneficial relationship. They were able to increase the seller reach. They were able to increase their customer reach by doing this engagement.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. So we also have the case of the cases which we spoke earlier were primarily how offline retailers have moved to online, and how marketplaces have collaborated with offline retailers, or when I'm calling them offline more as a simplistic definition. Then when the retailers either are selling offline, people are selling online, or the online people are selling offline. But just for differentiating, that's why I'm calling the brick and mortar retailers as the offline retailers. Okay. So from a Nykaa perspective, Nykaa is well known, of course. So they're a leading online beauty retailer, and they started as a pure online retailer. They had more than 400 brands, and they recently raised a round of funding, which was primarily targeted at getting Nykaa to set up stores across the country. Now, the interesting angle to this is obviously what Nykaa has seen is that it is important for them to be able to be close to the customer. Now, this means, of course, we'll come to the technology part of it, but in terms of what Nykaa was trying to do, they clearly are a case of people moving from online to offline. Nykaa did try working by collaborating with marketplaces. It's something which didn't work for them. So it's not that one formula works for everyone. But I guess they also were at a size where they could attempt to do it themselves. So, and they had already figured out succeeding online. So I guess it's a slightly different use case there.
Definitely.
Okay. So I mean that brings me to a question there. What do you think are the categories which are doing well online, or where there is an uptake online? Do you want to speak a bit, and Ravi chip in as well in terms of what you think? Which categories do you think are succeeding in terms of online revenues? What kind of products?
So, see, there are many categories, so we have to see which categories are the customer demand for, so fashion is a very big category, we have seen tremendous growth in mobile category, mobile, Flipkart actually built on mobile and books. Books is another category that was very, very famous.
Consumer electronics is one, bookstores is one.
Yes.
Then health and beauty?
Health and beauty, yes, but I think there are some operational challenges of why that category hasn't really taken off. Right, because of the transportation of goods from one place to another, but definitely, I think we have seen some traction in these categories as well.
Cosmetics?
Yes, the same. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, if we talk about Tolexo's example, we have seen a very, very good growth in terms of how the B2B markets have increased. We have seen tremendous uptake in terms of safety products that have been sold online. We have seen a tremendous uptake in terms of what power tools and hand tools are sold.
It's amazing, isn't it? So, see, you'd say that the first step is cosmetics, health and beauty, bookstores, consumer electronics are in my mind, they're easy candidates. Okay, they'll definitely globally they succeed. They're high margin items as well. Now, one of the areas which has been attempted many times, and some companies are doing fairly well, is grocery.
Yeah.
And it is amazing that industrial equipment they succeeded in a big time. And who would have thought that Indian consumers will buy jewelry online, and that could be ticket items. Well, I'm very sanguine about the whole case of e-commerce succeeding. Ravi, do you want to comment a little bit on whether the fall in e-commerce revenues in the last few months, is it a temporary phenomenon? What do you think? Are you able to hear us, Ravi?
Yes, I think, and before that, I want to just say something else. I wanted to say that if you look at it, candidates to go online, I would put it down to three factors by and large. The number one is any product or any which will give the same experience to the consumer, whether the consumer buys it online or offline, is a likely candidate for going online. Number two, I would say, is the robustness of the product to withstand the journey from a warehouse, from a store to the consumer's place, because of the kind of logistic systems that we have in place. And number three would be a product which, in a larger way, meets the affordability and the expectation of the consumer by through peer reviews. So, in my experience, and that's why, the fashion and lifestyle industry, which we always felt would be one of the last to get into this bandwagon of online, is doing significantly well. For example, Wildcraft has about 20% of its revenues coming from online sales. So no doubt about it. Online as a market, I would say, is a very good market. And what you see today is a temporary blip, as I look at it, because the freebies that were there erstwhile being promoted and a lot of these marketplaces have come off, and so some of the sheen has worn off. But in terms of the reach of an online is always going to be much bigger and much wider than what you'd find in a brick and mortar, particularly when you want to expand into tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India. And if, like as you said in the past, having a base in India, you want to go international without actually setting up offices. So I see this trend to continue, and online to be a key component of a sales strategy of any organization.
And so that's clearly there is no escape to the fact that customers want the convenience. So so we got to find profitable means to achieve it. So there's no question of and that's my view there. In terms of online, and online revenues will grow. You got to but the days of freebies are gone. You got to figure out ways to cut the supply chain costs. You got to find ways to profitably grow.
True.
So just coming back, we'll come back to you, Ravi. Some of the other things we wanted to talk about. This is just a trend we are noticing. A lot of consumer packaged goods are selling on marketplaces. They're also setting up portals to figure out if, as an additional sales channel, they're trying to reach customers. So it's self-explanatory, but it's an interesting trend. This is one of the markets which always work through distributors and retailers alone. There's nothing for retailers or distributors to feel challenged. It is just an opportunity for some of these players to reach new markets where they're not present. So there could be an African, there could be a Vietnamese coffee maker who sells on a marketplace in India or Malaysia where they're not present, or they don't have a partnership with the retailer. It could be the African products which are not really, they're not got their due. They could figure out a method to go into different geographies using marketplaces. So there are interesting trends there, of course, but what in the bigger context of things, I think Unilever, Toblerone, Colgate-Palmolive, all these guys are looking at various ways to tap into new territory. So I think that's also an interesting trend. So I know we are running short on time, so we will quickly go back to the cases on both Niket. Maybe we'll go with Ravi first. Yeah. So Ravi, why don't you take up very briefly the Fitbit example, and maybe you can continue with the Wildcraft journey. I think there are a lot of interesting pointers there.
Sure. I'd like to talk about the Fitbit to begin with.
Sure.
you see, when Fitbit wanted to enter India in somewhere in July 2015, while Fitbit traditionally has been selling through retail modules globally, it chose in India to have an exclusive tie-up with Amazon to sell it online first before it moved on to the retail space through Reliance and Chroma, etc. So that itself gave us a sign that they saw a huge potential in the online reach in terms of the ability to reach out to more consumers than if they could see it only through the brick and mortar outlets. But their long-term strategy has been to sell on both modules. And as you see today, you will go to a Chroma or a Reliance Retail or a Walmart or a Staples, you will find Fitbit products there, as well as you will find it online. So that's a very classical example of how large product companies have, adopted.
Sorry.
The traditional model, and as well as fitted in the online model into their way of business. Now let me come to Wildcraft, which is closer to my heart, where I really have done work. When we started this journey in Wildcraft, we by and large we've been in the on the offline space. We've got about 130 stores across the country. We are present in about 2,500 POS through various multi-brand outlets. Yet, as as the company began to grow, we started, we noticed that once we wanted to grow, our consumer palettes across the geo began changing, and there were different price elasticity points, and even within the same city, different socioeconomic classes had different price elasticity in terms of their buying behavior. So we had to widen our portfolio to address this need. Now, when we started widening the portfolio, the first challenge we had was our stores were not big enough to take care of this this widened portfolio, right? And because most of our stores across the country are 400, 500 square feet, retail space is quite expensive, as you know. And we had a couple of flagship stores at 1,000 square feet plus. So initially we started working on algorithms to how to have the right mix of EBOs at every EBO, how to have something called as an ideal quantity. It's also called as IQ in this parlance. We had experts working on it and all that, but we really couldn't make much headway. We used to have quite a lot of stockouts, and it got further complicated when we started working with the MBOs, because they had their own buyer-seller agreement, and they would raise their purchase orders, etc. So that's when we realized that we need to now look at moving online, and we started coming up as online as an alternate platform to sell. So what we did was we came with our own website called wildcraft.in, which would largely cater to the entire, which would present the entire portfolio of Wildcraft products, and would take care of the gaps in the stores, And then we started tying up with companies like Flipkart and Snapdeal, etc., and also with the marketplace players like eBay. But over time, we have found that business is giving us significant traction, and so we started developing the infrastructure to manage this business, because I'll come to that briefly later. There are challenges in how do you manage this, right? And as we started spending time on that, we now have moved beyond that to say that how do we give what I call as the omni-channel experience, and that's the slide that I have presented here to the consumer. Wherein when I say omni-channel, the consumer gets the same experience irrespective of which store or which multi-brand outlet, or if the consumer walks into a Wildcraft retail store or on the website, the experience should not be different. So one of the examples is a customer walks into a store, browses to our products, and doesn't find the right product. The store manager would then offer the consumer to say that, okay, can I find out whether this product is available elsewhere, or different size or a different color, what do you like? And the consumer could actually browse through the various products available in the catalog, and could direct to which is the nearest store which is stocking this particular product. Or could give an opportunity to place an order and get it delivered to your home, or place an order and deliver it to the nearest retail store closer to the consumer's house, or the consumer could say she'll walk in and check it out here and then buy it. You could reserve it. So this is the model that we are working on. I know now while this requires us to have an infrastructure in place, and that's the next slide that I'm talking about is on the strategic initiatives. The key infrastructure that we realized that one needs to do that is to first ensure that we have in place a structure to directly ship to the end consumer. All right. Now, if you look at it, direct shipping of products from a warehouse to an end consumer is vastly different from shipping it through the channels. For about 2 to 3 reasons output. Number one is time. The consumer expects the delivery to be within the same day or next day of making the buy, just like how she would have experienced if she would have walked into a store. It would almost be instantaneous delivery. So there's a need for speed. There's a need for quality. So to explain that, in most retail stores, the salesman would do one level of QC after the products have reached, and in case the product is a little bit crumpled or the packaging is a bit dirty, the salesman would keep it aside and only show the good pieces. In this case, the warehouse needs to do that kind of one level check, because it's too expensive to ship it and the consumer returns it saying that the packaging is not good, or the quality of the product doesn't look good, or the product is crumpled, because then you have to pay to and fro cost for shipping. So that is the other one. And the third one is obviously the option to pay cash on delivery. So the first thing that Wildcraft did was to create infrastructure to support this by creating warehouses near load centers, like high demand centers. But that there is a risk there also. You cannot spread yourself too thin, because otherwise you will have your portfolio spread across various warehouses. So there's a balance there to play. The next one, which is critical, is to deploy a multi-channel order management tool for aggregation. Now, so this is something where we have tied up with Vinculum for their ETRetail. So that helps us collect demand from various channels, aggregate it, and then move it for pick, pack, etc. Right? The third one is obviously to deploy hyper-local delivery systems. So because if you're going to do a store-to-store movement, you need to have some kind of hyper-local delivery systems to fulfill that. This last mile delivery is very critical here. And the fourth one was to realign the business model of revenue. Now, this is a very critical software issue that we realized, because we need to have both the store in which the order or the lead was generated and the store which fulfilled it, or the warehouse which fulfilled it, to have some share in the revenue. Otherwise, there is no buy-in of the store manager. So this was something that Wildcraft is working on to go live with our omni-channel experience. We have started work with Vinculum, and we've I think in the next 3 to 6 months, we should have this deployed across the country in terms of our omni-channel experience. Yeah, Venkat, that's all from me.
Thanks. That was quite insightful. Quick questions in terms of one or two questions there. Well, do you partner with third-party logistics companies in terms of deliveries, or predominantly it's done in-house?
We do partner with third-party logistics companies to have our deliveries, because there is a concept of local deliveries which is geo-specific, and we do not have that expertise, and neither are we in this business. And we have seen across the country there is various third-party logistics who have expertise in certain segments better than in others.
So obviously the integrations with all the logistics companies, etc., from a tech perspective also is quite critical.
It's very, very important, because the consumer needs to know what happened to the order. Where is the order once his order is placed, right? So one can't increase the anxiety levels of the consumer by asking the consumer to wait for 6 or 7 days before the material reaches. The consumer would like to know from the time the order is placed and the money is given, or even if it's a COD, what happened to the order, when is it expected, when is the person out for delivery, and that needs to be tied up with the supplier, with the retailer's system, so the retailer is able to track the status of the order and review it with the logistics service provider. So this integration is also equally key.
Possibly by the minutes. People want to see when it is coming by the minute rather than by days. So no, that's wonderful. Thanks, Ravi. So I'll come back to you for other questions. Now we'll quickly move to Niket. I know we're running late, but let's cover Tolexo in terms of what you have seen. What are the experience that you have seen, and what is Tolexo doing to improve the customer experience?
Sure. So, when Tolexo entered this entire ecosystem of e-commerce, that to a B2B space, we were the first ones to actually, go there and talk to the sellers and go there to talk to people that yes, you can actually buy these products online. Right. So
these are predominantly offline sellers.
They are predominantly offline sellers. There are certain hubs. There are certain digital hubs. We have Chavdi Bazaar, we have Chandni Chowk in Delhi. We have some places in Bangalore. We have in Mumbai. There are certain digital hubs where there is a lot of concentration of these, sellers. So they are authorized of various brands. They sell from their localized market and cover a region of say Delhi, NCR, or Mumbai, or Maharashtra, right? So it was the very first thing that we tried to do was to convince those sellers that there is a lot of value when you come online and start selling online, right? You can actually increase your reach, you can increase your revenue, you can increase your sales. It's a win-win situation. With a very minuscule effort or an incremental effort that you have to put from your end, you will be able to get a lot of returns at the end of it. So that was one of the biggest challenges that we have faced, while building Tolexo. So second thing is to ensuring of a customer experience. And that is also very, very important, especially when the sellers are not that well trained or sellers are very new to the entire market.
How many sellers does Tolexo have?
So we have more than 7,000 sellers that are there with us right now.
Okay. And predominantly or offline?
Yeah, predominantly or offline. Some of the sellers are there on the marketplaces, but the major categories on which we are dealing with, they are the single seller sector. So
you're talking about experience centers.
Yeah. So for the customer, there are four things that we actually pay a very, very high importance to: is the availability of the product. Also the price. We are giving the right price of the product. Then we also say the service that we are able to give them and the conveniences. These are four pillars where we say that okay, if the customer is able to have a satisfaction in all these four pillars:
price, service, convenience,
and availability. Okay. So availability is just that the product that the customer is looking for has to be available there. Convenience is how easy it is or how difficult it is for product. Change the
Okay, continue, please.
Yeah. So how easy it is or how difficult it is for the customer to actually, search for a product. Then it comes down to the price, whether we are able to give him a correct price that he is getting, it has to be competitive. I'm not saying that we undercut the price so that the person only comes for the price value, but his price has to be correct for the customer to actually come and invest into us. And the last thing is service. Once the order has been placed, we have to deliver a superior service for the customer. Since the time the order has been placed till the time order has been delivered, and even post delivery, returns or anything that issue that the customer faces in the products, we really need to ensure that everything has been taken care of. Those are some of the challenges that we really face. What we have done for this, we have started to build certain regional hubs, that in collaboration with Vinculum again. So we have increased the reach of a seller from a localized market to a national market. So we have sellers who are stocking their material in their own warehouse. We have people who are stocking it in our warehouse. Then they are now stocking their material in a localized warehouse. In Bangalore, in Mumbai, they are now stocking their own material. Right? So the person who was shipping from Delhi is now serving customers from Mumbai and customers of Mumbai. So by this, we are able to ensure that the reach of the sellers have increased, and we are able to give a superior service to our customer. A person is buying a product, and if it's a localized customer, we are able to deliver him in a day or two. And that gives a superior experience, and stickiness that is again for the seller as well as for us. Another thing that we have launched in some time back was Tolexo Speedy. That essentially means that whatever you buy from us will be in a superior quality, and that will be delivered to you as soon as possible. We'll commit a 24-hour dispatch and then the delivery for the customer. Tolexo Speedy was an initiative that we took to commit to our customers and say that okay, we will deliver the right product. You can trust on us. We will deliver the right product at the right time. Right. So that is something that we try to do. Another challenge that I had mentioned was training of sellers. Many of the sellers are not
savvy with technology.
And many of the sellers are not, very.
So how do you do it? You do multiple sessions and you made it easy to download videos. What are the steps?
So there is a channel sort of an approach that we have done. So we do have certain training videos that we have done. There is a complete seller onboarding program that we have built. That starts with an onboarding or registering of a seller to the time the first order has been processed by the seller. So there is a hand-holding done at each and every stage, to ensure the seller is able to maintain, understand what the internet ecosystem is, what the e-commerce ecosystem is, and seller is able to fulfill the order that he's getting in time. Because if he's not fulfilling, that's a loss for him and a loss for us. We have also heavily invested on building our own seller panel, that has built keeping in mind the B2B specifics. Right.
Do you allow pickup from, some of your sellers have stores of their own, right?
Yes.
So do you allow pickup of the orders from the stores?
By the customers?
By the customers?
No, not yet. It's something that we have not tried yet. Okay. What we are actually trying to do is to build an experience store, So as we also mentioned, we are we are trying to build experience stores across industrial clusters to see for our customers to actually go and experience the product. There is a local brand that is very good in Delhi, very famous in Delhi, but I'm not sure how many people know about it in a small industrial cluster in Karnataka. Right? So such industrial clusters, experience stores will actually help us, help our customers to actually experience the product, see their quality, and then place an order for us. That is also something that we're trying to do to overcome a challenge of convenience and the availability part of it.
We have a customer called Rolali in Indonesia who is in a similar space. They have a number of sellers who have small stores, or 3 stores, 5 stores kind of thing. So they tried the pick up from the store kind of a model, and it was very interestingly very successful. This is in Indonesia. So they use our entire stack. So they use our order management, they use our seller panel, and also cataloging to keep the data consistent. But it's quite an interesting experience with that. So I'll come back again, and thanks for those inputs. So we're running late on time. I'm not going to spend too much time on the changes in the IT landscape, but what is critical here is, if you look at from a retailer perspective, you are some of the key elements that we are talking about here is a order management system which can piggyback, integrate with the ERP systems and the store systems, and is able to manage the online orders well. That's a critical piece of investment that will need to be made. And like what we have seen with Wildcraft, integration with marketplaces and integration with 3PLs is a critical piece. And I would say those are the main elements from a retailer perspective. If we go in from an online brand perspective, you still will have those elements, order management system, and getting your supply chain in a good shape. Now, what in addition could be is if the online brands are setting up small stores and kiosks, there would be the need for a cloud POS. And interestingly, both players, you would find integration to cross-border platforms as a critical piece for many of them to go international. So you would want your product of partners to have integration to cross-border platforms. Both retailers and online brands, anything that you're trying in the attempting in the O2O journey, the real-time update of inventory or real-time view of inventory is going to be quite critical. So if you're going to say pick up from store, you need to make sure that you have near real-time update of inventory from the store. Otherwise, you will. So you want to talk about that, Ravi?
Yeah. I will just quickly highlight some of the critical things in this. Real-time inventory update is key to ensuring consumer satisfaction. There is no two things about it, because multiple players will be seeing the same inventory: the stores, the marketplace, the customer. The inventory should get blocked as soon as the order is booked or reserved. That's the first critical thing. The other thing that is critical would be the system should be robust enough to take orders from multiple channels and block it all at one go. Obviously, at a business level, you may need to set priorities in terms of whether it has to be your own website followed by store, etc. But this entire there should be a very strong IT platform which can do this aggregation for you in real time, and it should be able to optimize the time to serve. And that's a very critical thing, because you may have a store which is nearby, which is just about 2 kilometers away, versus a store which is 15 kilometers away, but the pin code to service of that store is much more better than the one that is 2 kilometers away. Then the system should be able to figure out, based on the algorithm set, which is the right place to pick up the inventory from. So I would say that these are the couple of things that is critical when you're doing this, when you're doing the O2O journey.
Thanks, Ravi. That's so we have some additional information here, but order fulfillment by 3PLs, I guess when it comes back to the same pointers here, the order management system, integration to 3PLs and integration to marketplaces, real-time view of inventory. These are critical towards enabling the O2O journey. So with that, means the transform IT landscape will look something like this, but I think with time not being on our side, I'm rushing through a little bit here. But what is interesting, then I'll just take you back to the slide I started with for a second, right? So if I'm just scoring a few brownies here, Ravi, if you allow me, yeah. So that what Vinculum does, right, means if you go back to the fundamental thing that we are doing, that's essentially to be able to offer products on the cloud which use integrations to web stores, which use integrations to multiple channels, which use integrations to 3PL fulfillment companies, and which essentially means I was just I'm going off the track here, that's why I had to go back. But if you look at the pieces there, integrations to multiple channels, integrations to 3PLs, real-time view of inventory, and integration to cross-border platforms is the powerful integration layer that we have built, on top of which all of these different elements are, all the different products have been created. Then the order management piece, the 3PL, then the warehousing piece, the product to onboard sellers, there's a seller panel, there's a PIM product which is created to keep the data consistent. If you really look at each of these elements, lean on the same integration layer. And what we have done is to create a stack which helps in the O2O journey. So, but if we go back, right, then so what are the learnings for us? So if we were to create a cheat sheet in terms of what is useful for customers to go on the O2O journey. So should we say the first step, would it be useful to say that selling on marketplaces is a simple and easy way to get online revenues? Would that apply for retailers and online brands of all sizes? What do you think, Ravi? What's your view on that?
See, there is no simple straight answer, but the way I would look at it is any online, any retailer which wants to increase geo presence without spending too much on the infrastructure to build it up should look at online as a very complementary solution to the entire experience for the consumer. Having said that, I would say that one would need a warehouse infrastructure to support pick, pack, and ship operations, like I mentioned earlier. So that is going to be critical. One would need a strong ERP and a strong enabler like a ETRetail to link the ERP with the marketplace, so that one would need to invest in that, and one would need to invest in last mile delivery systems. So any organization which believes that a significant portion of its revenue can be unlocked by going online should look at it. And when I say significant, I would say even a 10 to 15% is a pretty good number to look at. The incremental costs of setting up infrastructure would easily pay off over a period of maybe a year and a half at max. That's the way I look at it.
So going back to that question, is there a particular size of retailers you think should definitely consider looking at marketplaces as an ally?
Yeah, anyone which has.
Sorry, Ravi,
my way, any company which has turnover of 50 crore plus should look at it. No doubt, no two things about it.
I think it should be open for everyone. Even a small retailer should be, as I earlier mentioned, the incremental cost of going on a marketplace is very, very less.
So I think it reduces the cost of getting things wrong in the first place. Operationally, you can clean up things. You basically get your operational strategies clean, and you have the cost of making a mistake is small here. And hopefully you will actually get a lot of revenues going through this model. Yes. So this is one, right? So in terms of let's take other cheat sheet questions. Let's take each of these candidates. Sellers, let's say. What would you advise sellers?
So I will advise sellers, to start exploring online as a very, very lucrative opportunity. That doesn't matter what products you sell. I am sure that whatever you sell, there is a marketplace that is selling that. They will do the marketing for you. They will do order fulfillment for you.
So sellers should sell on multiple marketplaces and should be able to manage their orders sitting from a single location easily.
Yes, yes.
So sellers should collaborate with retailers.
Definitely.
Okay. Now, if you take online brands, what would be the recommendation?
So online brands, again, for online brands, there should be a synergy between what they want to do offline also and what they want to do online, because we believe offline sales, offline presence can actually help in transition and awareness, which can help in online conversion as well.
Okay. Then do you want to add something there, Ravi, in terms of pure online brands? What would be the quick cheat sheet recommendations that you will give?
I would say that any online brand should definitely look at a retail module for complementing its presence. Because retail having a brick and mortar structure does give you that the consumer also an opportunity to touch and feel products, because something that is critical. So I would say that everyone the experience. Now we are
so they should collaborate with retailers in terms of creating the touch points, or they should have small stores or kiosks, which is what is a trend we are observing as well. Correct?
Yes. And collaboration seems to be the key here, because there is a cost of setting up infrastructure, obviously. So it's always better to collaborate rather than set up your own infrastructure, because you may not get it right in the first place, or it may not be at a particular high street or something. So it's always better to look at collaboration over setting up your own infrastructure is what I would believe.
And for retailers also, you see the collaboration with marketplaces as an opportunity to get things right. It also is a potential collaborating with online brands. Maybe there could be an opportunity to sell more, right?
Definitely,
so,
and
again,
current trend shows it.
Add something there?
Yeah, and the current trend shows it. See, you look at Gillette, you look at Nestle. You look at even companies which sells like Gillette, which sells blades, has collaborated with online retailers to sell. Wildcraft, for example, we have tied up with a plethora of online retailers to sell, and there is absolutely no feeling that there is something like a competition between the two. It all seems to work for the growth of the brand itself. So I would say even retailers should not see that as a concern. It will just complement.
So we possibly stop with that and maybe take some questions from the audience if there is any at this point. First question is, how can a customer ensure that he has not received counterfeit goods when buying online? The issue of a counterfeit product generally becomes known only when the product is taken for service in the company's service center and not at the time of purchase. This is a question asked by Sunita. Thank you for that. Ravi, do you want to answer that? How do you handle it if a customer? How do you make sure that the customer has not received a counterfeit good?
So the first thing that would need is actually in this would be more of a customer awareness, that even when you are looking at online retailing, there are authorized sellers, or there are assurances given by the online marketplaces saying that this is either fulfilled by Amazon or Flipkart Advantage, etc. So these are the options that I would, as a consumer, look at when I make the buy. So just like when you buy from a brick and mortar, you would go and buy from someone whom you would consider authorized. One should look at those kind of tags on the online marketplace before you make a buy, because at the end of the day, it's all a marketplace, and you would find Even in the brick and mortar industry, you do see a couple of retail shops which would sell fraudulent products. So that's very common. So the consumer does exercise some judgment when you go to a shop to know who's the right shop. Similar assessment has to be done by looking at the assurances given by the marketplace.
Thanks, Ravi.
Have I answered the question? I'd like to know if have I answered Sunita's question correctly, or
I think I can just add on top of it to Sunita's query is that, if you ever find, I think as an ethical practice for a marketplace and as well as, for the seller, it is supposed to be a right product that is being sold. Right? In any given case, if you find any product that is not, genuine, I think you should report to the marketplace. I'm pretty sure that every marketplace, will take care of it. They may replace
some of the consumers find that every marketplace has not responded immediately positively. So there are stories out there. So I think that's where the question is coming from.
That's true, but that is something
that differentiates the marketplace as well.
See, there are other things.
Absolutely.
There is some rating, there are product reviews that you see. There are seller rating that are specifically mentioned. So there has to be an informed purchase. As we mentioned, that if you're buying from a online retailer, you have to be little sure that you're buying at the right place.
So the next question was share an example of an Indian company which has gone offline to online. I think Wildcraft is the example itself.
Yeah.
So I think they asked.
Yeah, 12% of our revenues and counting.
How can sellers plan their purchase and put a proper price for their products? Do you want to take that a bit?
Yeah. So see, there are different tools that are available. That can help you do that. One of the things that marketplaces we try to do is so you actually get to know what is the price at which you are selling and what is the price that different sellers are selling. Right? You have to see a profitability definitely on top of it, but you have to be competitive in the market. You cannot be so high that you will never get the buy button on the top preference from the marketplace. You have to be ensure that you're not so low that you're not making any profit, and you have to shut down the online presence soon enough. So there are multiple. So I'm pretty sure the marketplace that you will try to work with, they will assist you in what is the right price, how much inventory and the forecasting that they're doing for the sales that you can expect for the quarter, for a month, for a week, and they can actually assist you in doing everything that you are asking.
Thank you for that. The next question is for Ravi. You mentioned bricks and mortar stores creating an online presence, but I seldom see them being connected. Why aren't the retail stores creating a user profile so that when the same user comes online, they have a single view of the customer essentially. They can suggest things based on what has been purchased from the physical store. Why is it still broken?
Yeah, that's
an interesting question.
Very interesting question, and this is something that even at Wildcraft we've been grappling with for some time. Is how to use multiple inputs, like if someone checks on a Wildcraft product through Facebook and the same person uses YouTube through a different login ID, and the person walks into a store, how do we link all these profiles to get an image of the consumer? And that's big business today. In fact, there are companies which are now retailing products around that as to how to capture all these various pipes of which the consumer is feeding information and to create a single profile. Having said that, as of now, not many companies are successful because of the challenges around technology and around integrating, and some amount of privacy challenges also. But yes, this is a journey that most retailers, and not just retailers, even the online marketplaces are looking at as a next step of migration, is to be able to track the consumer as the consumer fits across various web pages, or as the consumer walks by the store. So there are some technology advances there also, where the Wi-Fi signal of the consumer can be used to capture the consumer signature and hence give information, etc. So I think we probably are a couple of years away from us being having a robust system around that, but the intent is there to do that.
So I mean, the real successful omni-channel retailers do invest in making sure they have a consistent view of the customer, and it's a very critical parameter for omni-channel retailing anyway. When they
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, there's
Right.
no two thoughts about it. But of course, all of this, it's in the journey. I mean, all of these require investments, and you have to find ways to profitably do that. You have to be there for the long haul. Because online is not a quick way to make money.
That's true. That's right. That's right.
So let's just go to the next question. And I don't know if I can go through every question here, but there are quite a few questions. For a medium-sized retailer wishing to capture new sources of revenue, do you think they should go on their own, or they should tie up with an established marketplace?
I would like to take. So I think it's a very clear
I
answer.
think all three of us want to take this question.
Has to be marketplace, right? So one of the biggest issue of going online is to getting the catchment rightly. So how will a user identify that you're online and you're going there for a purchase? You can't just keep on giving flyers to everyone that is walking into a store, right? You have the entire internet.
See, I think the question comes from some of the people, right? And some of the marketplaces are very restrictive in their partnership models. They say that you have to put your entire catalog here. You have to work exclusively with us in some cases. So, then what is the right thing for the medium-sized retailer? They have to identify the right marketplace as a collaboration. Then you can't obviously, if you are somebody who is building your own brand, you got to figure out a way that you're not boxed into a relationship which is too crowded and without space, right? So, but if you find the right partner, I think partnering with marketplaces is a very effective way to grow, and that's my view. So, Ravi, do you want to add to that?
And as a retailer, there has to be some credibility that you would want to bring also onto the table. The marketplace would want to be sure, just like it just answers the question that was asked about some 3 questions back. How do you not get into the retailers using that platform to sell counterfeit products, right? So
Voice is gone.
Marketplace will always want to assure itself that it's tying up with the right kind of retailer.
Ravi, let me continue there. Ravi, we're having some operational challenge there. Your voice wasn't coming clearly. But essentially what you're saying is that the marketplace has to make sure that the retailer is producing good quality products. And at the same time, the retailer has to make sure that the marketplace is someone he can collaborate with, right? So that mutually it works as a strategic or a good partnership. As long as that is there, that is a very effective way to grow your online revenues. Is that fair? That's exactly what you are trying to say.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll go to the next question there. How does Tolexo manage their returns? Do you have a seller quality policy?
Yeah, we do have a seller quality policy. As a matter of fact, we straight away disable the entire catalog of the seller. If we find any, quality issues reported by the customers, or if we do our internal audits, we straight away disable the seller till the time the issues are corrected. As for the return policies, you can connect us, call center, you can connect us support desk, and I think they will assist you in, processing returns, whatsoever the case. We have certain policy of 15 days of returns on products. You can avail that if you find the product is not up to the mark, or if you don't feel the product to be as what you expect it to be.
So let me cherry pick some questions because we are definitely over the time now. There are questions which is for Niket. How is Tolexo ensuring it stays ahead of competition? I won't name the competition because they are our customers too.
So it's very simple, right? So we don't want to get into the price wars, selling this, the lowest product, getting discounts, spreading coupons. The success for us is giving a superior experience to the customer. If they are able to experience, get a very good experience of the product, if they are able to get a very good experience of all the touch points where we connect with them, we expect them to be, sticky with us, even if we are a little bit costlier or we're at par. We want customers to have and come online experiences and stay with us that is our motto. Superior customer
So,
experience.
in your personal experience, what is more preferred to handle returns? A centralized return processing center or a decentralized network? Ravi, you want to try that?
See, the key thing is that the consumer who's returning the product needs to be refunded the amount as soon as possible, right? So whether to centralize it or decentralize it would largely depend on the organization's policies as to when the refund is initiated. If you were to ask me, that option should be left to the organization to decide, basis its risk assessment of how much of the returns are genuine and how much of the returns are fraudulent. Large companies, and let me quote an example of Amazon, initiates returns the refund the moment the return is picked up from the consumer's house, and doesn't even wait for the material to reach the warehouse. So at that place, a centralized or decentralized warehouse would not matter. Maybe the centralized warehouse would be used more for the reprocessing of the returns, but not for the refunds. I think from a consumer's perspective, the key is how quickly are you refunding the money, and that is what retailers and marketplaces should focus on.
Okay. Now there are some questions with respect to process of getting new food products into online market. I'm not sure if either of the panelists is the right person to answer that. So sorry, Vivek, Surana, we are not going to take that question. Let me look at other questions here. Maybe one last question before we wind up for the day. Let's go here. What is the strategy to minimize the impact of discount coupons on the revenues of marketplaces and sellers, since it's become a trend for online marketplaces with steep competition among retailers? I'm not sure if you understand the question, but what is the strategy to minimize the impact of discount coupons on the revenue of marketplaces sellers? Is that clear, Ravi?
Yeah, so let me just give you, because the strategy would vary from organization to organization, I would just tell you what Wildcraft has done. We have adopted a very transparent pricing policy, saying that the price that we will sell, whether it's online or offline, will be consistent and uniform, so that a consumer does not feel cheated when the consumer walks into one mode of buying vis-a-vis the other one. I guess in the long run, most organizations should look at how do you have a uniform pricing policy, irrespective of the mode on which the consumer is doing the buying. Obviously, we are in the transition journey, wherein a lot of the marketplaces are trying to build a consumer base, and they would offer additional discounts on their own without even the retailer like us wanting to offer it. But I guess all this, as the current trends itself are showing that these freebies are wearing off, and you wouldn't see this over a period of time. In fact, I recollect I'm an ardent user of Ola cabs for traveling. When the Ola began its journey about a couple of years ago, almost every trip was either a subsidized trip or a free trip. But now there is surge pricing. Now the number of discounted coupons are coming down. So as the marketplaces get establishing for themselves, they will start reducing these discount coupons. Retailers, by say, do not need to do that as long as they give the consumer the right product and the right experience.
Thank you, Ravi. I think we've had some great questions there. I thank ETRetail for facilitating this webinar, and I thank Ravi and Niket joining me today, and all the audience for patiently sitting through the 90 minutes. We've extended our time, but thank you very much. I hope you found it as useful and as entertaining as it was for the panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you.